All right, so we're looking for a site for collecting a kind of fire agate that Paula really wanted to take a close look at, see if she could find some fire agate. So here's a mine. The coordinates were in a book, and we entered those verbatim into Google, and it led us to this site where, obviously there's been some digging going on. The rest of the soil is not disturbed around here, but right here where Google says the site is, there's been some digging. But I never trust Google. And it occurred to, I've had problems with it converting, especially arc degrees, hours, minutes, seconds into decimal coordinates in the past. And it just hasn't seemed to be the correct conversion sometimes, right? So now I'm wondering if this is a Google phantom digging spot and people came here and started digging because of Google. I don't know. But I went to the FCC site because they had some good calculators for calculating, arc seconds and hours, minutes, seconds into just a decimal form of geographic coordinates. And then I enter it into Google Maps, and it's approximately right there in the middle of the screen, right above the Jeep. And sure enough, there's another mined area over there. So we're going to go over there and see if that's where the fire agate really is. And if we do find it over there, that means that this is a Google scar made by an improper conversion of geographic coordinates into decimal. So anyway, we'll see. But there's certainly no fire agate here. We'll meet you again up there. And there's one more possibility we're investigating. This is the book, James R. Mitchell, Gem Trails of Arizona. And I had a look in it here. It says coordinates were taken using a DeLorme Earthmate GPS PN20. Very, very, very good GPS in its day. And there's absolutely no information here, though, about what the datum that they had that GPS device set to. Now, I'd presume it was just naturally WSG84 or NAD83, which are practically the same thing, a North American datum of 1983. But I mean, if for some reason it was set to NAD27, North American datum of 1927, that means that, any coordinates in this book need to be used with a GPS that is set to use NAD27 reference shape of the planet. So, I don't know. I mean, I just don't know. That's another possibility. But the scar mine, the little mine over here, and the possible mine up on the side of the hill. The mine on the side of the hill seems more reasonable, actually. But, that's approximately the distance that can be the difference between coordinates recorded in these different datum. So, okay, we'll see. So I'm not even halfway yet. Let's see if I can get that to focus toward that place marker, which should maybe be the right location. Focus. And I'm starting to find stuff like this. Much better than in the little hole by the road. Okay, so this is going to be a little shaky, but that's the diggings that are right by the road. And I'm pretty sure of my thesis now. Again, what happened is I put in the hours, minutes, arc seconds coordinates into Google, and then I noticed that the point on the road, was both right by the road, and it wasn't the actual coordinates that I put in to begin with. It changed the coordinates a little bit, and I'm thinking that maybe Google does that to keep people from driving off the road. But because of that, it's really interesting. That little diggings that I was standing in that other video appear right by the road because Google is tricking people into thinking that's the place to look for this fire agate. And we're kind of looking at it across the road right now. It's not a big scar, but it does seem to be a result of Google adjusting the coordinates for people to keep them near the road, that we end up with the diggings near the road where there really isn't actually much of anything. I mean, it's got some pretty rocks, but not much of anything at all, really. Okay, here's the area I was speculating might be the point on the map that I could only see from over there. The rock in here is very white, and from a distance it looked like a scar where maybe people were doing some diggings, but at the time I don't think so. I'm really not sure, and I don't know what this mineral is, but it's kind of a chalky white mineral and not something that you know, you would treat as a semi-precious gemstone or anything like that. So I think this is probably, but it's also not the point that the you know, the corrected coordinates converted with, you know, a more proper piece of software that isn't going to snap us to the side of the road is. So it's not the place. But anyway, I'd pointed it out earlier as possibly the place. I think it's not. We've still got about twice as, or you know, a time, you know, as far as we've come, we have about that far to go to get to the spot that's actually marked now. So I'm going to give it a try. We'll see what's over there. Well, the actual coordinates take me up near this draw that goes down kind of the other side of the ridge that we were looking at down there. If you go over that ridge, small ridge, it's easy in a transverse manner. This is what's on the other side of the ridge, and sure enough, I think we're getting closer. Paula will know better what this rock is. It has this like round, puffy crystalline structure. So anyway, yeah, getting somewhere. Well, we're right up here on top, on the spot. That is the correct translation of the coordinates into decimal form. So it did let me come up here. It's, well, as you can see, quite worth the walk. Really quite beautiful. I think I can see probably close to 80 miles in that direction, maybe further. So crazy good. But what's up here? Creosote. I'm sorry. Well, there is creosote. That's right there. Ocotillo. We've got some cholla cactus. All things that, and a big barrel cactus here. All things that, you know, this ocotillo and barrel cactus grow in my own neighborhood back in the Anza Borrego Desert. And the cholla is different than our cholla. Really kind of a lovely cholla, much tighter spines, I think. Anyway, but there's nothing up here. There's a couple lovely, rather large prickly pears that look just exceedingly healthy. The prickly pear is really, really happy up here. So, yeah, you know, the correct translation of those points did lead me to a great rock. And there is a lot of sort of, you know, little pieces of kind of a blue-gray agate. I've seen that coming all the way up here. But, you know, it doesn't seem to be anything like the proverbial mother lode of this material that this area is known for. So I think what I'm going to do, and by the way, one of the reasons that I end up on an unremarkable, well, it's remarkable, it's goddamn beautiful, but one of the reasons that I end up on, you know, relatively unremarkable, somewhat difficult to walk on hillside here is because, I mean, it could be because of that datum issue that I brought up earlier. Maybe these, you know, maybe it's really down there somewhere. Maybe it is that other little draw that I had first speculated about. So you know, I don't know exactly where the spot is, but obviously there's some issue with translating coordinates. Also, as the book points out, I mean, it's totally legit. I mean, you know, geographic coordinates define a point, and this is an area, you know, really, you know, rock collecting sites are large areas, so it could just be that we're in the whole area, and the fact that I found this beautiful rock is, you know, just the luck you need to find something like this in this area. I don't know. But anyway, what is really interesting, though, I think is really interesting, is that by the road, there's a fake site. You can see it right down there, approximately. By the road, there's a Google site. People are thinking of it as the Joy Valley site, and it's really not. There's really nothing in there, and just evidence that people have been digging there. And I think people have been digging there because that's where Google tells them it is. Okay. I do have to show you this. Look at this big area of hedgehog cactus. Just splendid. I've never seen so many hedgehogs so close together. Look at this little wispy white kind of, I guess a kind of fishhook cactus. Living right under right around the roots of a creosote. There are so many good cactus here. Here's a little beaver tail. Lovely. Tell us about them.
These are pieces of, I think it's botryoidal chalcedony.
That's the word I was trying to think of earlier, was botryoidal. These nodules.
Yeah, it's where the rock bubbles up and forms these bubbly type of agates.
What is this site?
This is a Joy Valley fire agate site.
Yeah, and yeah, happy anniversary, babe. We did great.
Thanks. Yeah, I feel like, well, there were supposed to be geodes, but I think we did okay.
Well, I mean, some of these are, well, at least they have jerseys in them.
And some of them are supposed to have fire in them too.
Cool.
So we'll have to see by looking at them.
So just to recap, the false site, the Google false site, is right over there by the road. There's this corral over here, which let you get past the fencing. We went through that gate right there. This gate was open when we found it. This gate was closed when we found it, so we left it the way we found it. And you know, earlier I speculated about maybe it being this area right there at the end of my finger, but actually it's kind of further up the mountain. Here's that canyon over there, or that draw on the other side, that we never made it into it. We didn't go down. It was too steep once we got up there, but it's like up in here, so it looks like this agate is coming down off the mountain actually, or coming out of the mountain. So that's where to go if you come to this site.